If you've ever sat there staring at your YouTube analytics, wondering why nobody is watching, I want you to hear this. Month 3 of my YouTube journey was the month the entire world shut down. My races were canceled. My real estate phone literally stopped ringing. I was kind of scared about money, about family, about everything. And my channel numbers dropped by 1/3. And somehow that was the month that everything changed. Now stay with me, because what happened in March of 2020 is exactly why you need to hear this right now if you're thinking about quitting a YouTube. Let me take you back to where my head was at the beginning of March of 2020. 2 months in, I had 86 subscribers and I was starting to figure a few things out. January, I had 25 subscribers in 31 days and I nearly burned myself out completely. February, I slowed right down to 4 videos and almost every metric went up. I was learning that quality beats quantity. I was learning that MAF training content was connecting with people in a way that my other videos weren't. I had a plan, I had motivation, that things felt like they were moving. And I was walking into the lunchroom at my office and I saw the news on TV. The provincial government was talking about lockdowns. And my very first thought was, I need to get to the gas station. Here's what I want you to understand about what happened next, because I think a lot of creators went through this and nobody really talks about it. Everything stopped. My running stopped, my filming stopped, my real estate business stopped, because nobody wanted to buy a house anymore. I was sitting at home, glued to the TV, watching my phone, trying to figure out how to keep the lights on and to feed my family, all while the whole world literally fell apart around us. And you know what also stopped? My motivation to make YouTube videos. Because when you're worried about real things, groceries, gas, income, your family's safety, making a video about running feels completely pointless. If you've ever felt like your channel is the last thing on your priority list, like life keeps getting in the way of the thing that you actually want to build, I want you to know that in March of 2020, I felt that more intensely than I had ever felt before or since. And I almost stopped. Completely. Almost stopped. So here's what the numbers looked like. My views were 1,361, down 33% from February. My watch time was 139 hours, down 32%. New subscribers, 26, fell 21%. I want you to look at those numbers and ask yourself something. If that was your channel, if your views dropped by 1/3 and your watch time dropped by 1/3 after you've already grinded it out for 2 months, what would you do? Would you keep going? Because I almost didn't. But here's the one number that went in the right direction. My click-through rate went up 6.38, up 31% from February. Even in my worst month, even when my output was down and my motivation was gone and the world was in absolute chaos, the people who did see my content were clicking at a higher rate than ever before. The packaging was getting better, even when everything else felt like it was falling apart. And that one number, that one small sign that something was working, was enough to keep me going. I want you to remember that the next time you look at your analytics and feel like quitting, find that one number that's moving in the right direction. 1 is enough. 1 means something is working, and build on that. Now let me show you what actually worked in March of 2020, because even in a terrible month, the data was telling me something important. My number 1 video, the Maffetone Method Progress video that I uploaded in February, it got 387 more views in March, nearly 12 minutes of average watch time with a 10.9% click-through rate. I didn't upload that video in March, I uploaded it in February, and it was still finding new people a month later. YouTube was doing its job. That was my first real lesson about evergreen content that keeps working long after you've moved on to the next video. Content that answers people's questions, are actively searching for, not just today, but every single day moving forward. For you watching right now, think about the videos you've already made. Are any of them evergreen? Are any of them answering a question that people in your niche search for constantly? Because if they are, those videos are still working for you right now, even while you are asleep. My number 2 video that month, I stopped running for 1 week. What happens to your MAF fitness? 345 views. And here's why that video matters for you. I made that video because I had generally stopped running. The pandemic had knocked me sideways and I hadn't been out in days. So I made a video about stopping, about what's happening to your fitness when life gets in the way. And it connected because every runner watching was also dealing with canceled races and disrupted training and not knowing what to do next. Your real life situation, even when it's messy and unplanned and not what you wanted to talk about, that is content. Your audience is going through the same thing you are. When life interrupts your plan, that interruption is the video. Now, I want to talk about the video that almost didn't get made. Number 5 on my top 10 list for March of 2020. The title, I didn't want to run. I was overwhelmed with COVID-19, so I did a rant. 49 views. I made that video because every single race I had been training for got canceled. The 100-kilometer race I had been building towards for months, gone. Every race director in the country canceled everything for the entire year. Literally, just like that. And I sat down and I talked. Honestly, the vulnerability, no script, no plan, no strategy, just here's how I'm feeling and here's what's going on. Generally, I don't know what comes next. Only 49 views. But by the numbers, that looks like a failure. And at the time, it really did feel like one. But here's what I want you to know that I didn't know then. That video kept me in the game because the act of making it, of sitting down and being honest about the struggle instead of pretending everything was fine, that kept me connected to why I started this channel in the first place. To document the journey, to be real. To help people somewhere out there who was feeling the same thing I was feeling. If you're a content creator who is struggling right now and you feel like you have nothing worth saying, make the video about struggling. Make the video about not knowing what to do next. Make the video about almost quitting. Because that video, that's the one that finds the person who needed to hear it most. By the end of March, I had started running again. Slowly at first, just kind of getting outside, just moving. And as I started moving, the camera came back with it too. And here's what I realized sitting at home where nowhere to go and nothing to do with my races canceled and my real estate business literally on pause and the whole world turned upside down. YouTube was one of the things that I could actually control. I could control that. Couldn't control the pandemic. I couldn't control whether people wanted to buy a house. I couldn't control the weather. I couldn't control whether my races were canceled or not, but I could make a video. And maybe someone out there sitting in their house feeling the same fear and uncertainty would find it and feel a little bit less alone. That's when this channel stopped being a hobby. That's when it became something I generally needed. And if you're a creator right now who's struggling to find a reason to keep going, I want you to ask this. Who is sitting out there right now waiting for the video only you can make? Because they're there, I promise you, they are. You just have to keep uploading long enough for them to find you. March 2020 ended with 112 subscribers, starting with 86, gaining 26 more during one of the strangest and scariest months any of us have ever lived through. It was down 33% in views, down 32% in watch time, races canceled, real estate on pause, barely running anymore, and I kept uploading. Not because the numbers were good and not because I had a strategy, but because it was the only thing that felt like moving forward when everything else had literally stopped. In month 4, in April of 2020, the world was still locked down. And something happened to this channel that I completely did not see coming. Something that changed the entire direction of what I was building. I'll see you on the next one, on month 4. And like I always say, keep growing and get out there and make a video.